Hey everybody, Mr. The Fanboy here. This is my salute and praise of indie wrestling in 2016. Before I start this video is a longer video that is an introduction to a bunch of individual smaller videos talking about these awesome promotion. This is talking about the independent circuit of America, Canada, and Europe, and of course the Japanese and Mexican professional wrestling circuits. Leaving TNA out of this one. But before I start, see, I've been wanting to talk about each of these promotions, but there's been so much awesome wrestling outside of WWE that haven't had time to watch and talk about it all. So with that being said, this is my introduction to a bunch of smaller videos. But before I get to that, if all of these promotions I'm about to talk about were as big or at least as popular as the WWE, I would still like professional wrestling. The WWE, they have destroyed and killed professional wrestling for me with all the stuff they've done in their last 32 plus years. In their last 32 plus years that Vince McMahon has taken over his father's company. WWE is straight up trash. Straight up trash. So many things, but if all these promotions were as popular as WWE, I would still like professional wrestling because each of these promotions, New Japan, Mexico, um, Canada, Europe, the independent circuit here in America, all of these promotions represent what professional wrestling should be. Take no names, ass kicking, beat the hell out of who's ever in front of you. Yeah, I'm quoting the franchise, Shane Douglas. Strong characters, compelling storylines, and awesome, exciting wrestling. All of these promotions are what professional wrestling should be. WWE is a mockery of art, the art of professional wrestling, art of professional wrestling. In my older videos or back in the 2000s, I had always wanted companies like TNA to become bigger and become a competitor to WWE. I no longer want that. I want TNA and all these other companies to grow, and I want WWE to be out of business. To be out of business, man, because like I said, dude, that company like offends me, man. See, when it comes to professional wrestling, man, I used to always defend professional wrestling against annoying MMA and sports fans, man. But after seeing so much of WWE and seeing all the bad stuff they've done behind the scenes and on screen, I can see why someone would just absolutely hate WWE, would absolutely hate the WWE, hate and look down on the WWE, and I see why the mainstream has never truly accepted professional wrestling. It's because of WWE's garbage. When I look at WWE's garbage, I can see why the mainstream has never will and never truly will ever accept professional wrestling. After finally converting over to MMA, I feel much better. I feel much better. WWE is just straight up trash. It should be canceled from from the USA network. But USA is such a terrible channel that they refuse to cancel a a channel like WWE despite its terrible ratings and terrible television product. Television product. With that being said, like I said, this is my rant on the WWE, man. This is my salute of independent wrestling. My rant on the WWE video. That's the next video I'm gonna do after this. With that being said, so the first promotion I'm gonna start off with is actually two promotions that are based here in Georgia. The first one is Anarchy Wrestling, which is now called Why We Wrestle. It is based in a small church here in Georgia. Cornelia, Georgia. This is the promotion. I've mentioned this promotion several times in previous videos. This is the promotion where AJ Styles, the Hardy Boys, Abyss, Heath Slater, Xavier Woods, aka Consequences Creed. This is the promotion those guys got their start. Like I said, this is one of my all time favorite promotion. This promotion is vastly similar to the NWA professional wrestling of the 70s and 80s, the late 80s to early 90s WCW, and of course the WCW from 2000 to 2001, the last years of WCW, because they're in a smaller um, arena. And this promotion features my favorite style of wrestling, the wrestling style, which puts strong emphasis on exciting wrestling action, exciting, fast-paced wrestling action, and strong characters. This is my all-time favorite form of professional wrestling, man. Professional wrestling. This promotion has been around for a long time. Been around since '97. So this promotion is technically 19 years old. Been around under various names. First debuting as NCW National Championship Wrestling. Then they merged with the NWA and became NWA Wild Side. Then of course, then of course, um, then of course um, they ran for 6 years, closing their doors in March 2005. They re fire fireman turned firefighter turned wrestling promoter Jeremy Palmer opened them up, reopened the church back in later that year, and renamed it NWA Anarchy. And they kept that name for several years until um, I think it was 2012, and the NWA did something trying to take control over the what's his name. It caused this and several other promotions, most notably the very popular, the biggest NWA territory, the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood territory. It caused all of those to leave. It caused all of those promotions to leave the NWA So now it's just Anarchy Wrestling, but I still refer to it as NWA Anarchy from time to time. Then of course it ran with the Anarchy Wrestling name for 3 years before finally closing down in September of 2015, and it reopened several months later as Why We Wrestle. Not a fan of the name change, but am happy that Why We Wrestle continues the legacy of NWA Wildside and NWA Anarchy, and continues the legacy of um, Georgia professional wrestling and the Church of Southern Wrestling. We're going to be talking more about this promotion in a smaller video. This promotion is not as good as Wildside and Anarchy because most of their talent is working for the next promotion I'm about to talk about, and that is Empire Pro Wrestling. All the top stars that were top stars in the Anarchy Wrestling are now in this promotion, Empire Pro Wrestling, EPW. This promotion has awesome, underrated independent wrestlers who are not on the map because they didn't tour the indie scene like wrestlers like Daniel Bryan and CM Punk did, wrestlers like Ace Rockwell, Johnny Viper, Brandon and Jason Collins, the Temptation, Sean Tempers, and this promotion is based it's somewhere in Roswell, Georgia, I think. Roswell, Georgia. So these promotions come head to head. These promotions exchange talent, keeping the product fresh. The While We Wrestle promotion has familiar faces like Slim J, Jacob Ashworth, Trevor Aon, Michael Judas, but and Anthony Henry, but many new faces like Gunnar Miller, Logan Creed, and many more, many more, many more. Well, that was professional wrestling in Georgia. These are the two biggest promotions in Georgia that I know of currently that are currently going. The next is the next promotion is a promotion based in Tennessee. It is part of the National Wrestling Alliance. It's Southern All Star Wrestling. This is the promotion where I first discovered the No Pain Train Tommy Mercer, the No Pain Train Tommy Mercer, who of course is better known to TNA fans as Crimson. Crimson, yeah, this is promotion. This is the promotion he wrestled for. This is also the promotion former TNA wrestler Chase Stevens of the Naturals, one of the Naturals that he wrestles for currently. Phil Shatter, better known to TNA fans as Gunner, wrestles here. So does Kid Cash. So does Kid Cash. Kid Cash and Biff and Biff Beastworth. I keep forgetting his name, but he was Domino in WWE. But he wrestles as Biff something in what's his name. They also have other wrestlers like this very cool Shelton Benjamin type African American wrestler named Ali Shabazz, Chase Oliver, who currently wrestles in New Japan, Sean Schultz, Jeremiah Pluckett, a veteran of the modern day NWA territories. This guy is all around um, the NWA territories and the independent circuit. This guy is like everywhere, everywhere everywhere wrestling. Several awesome tag teams, like I think called Total Mayhem, Team IOU. So like I said, an awesome old school wrestling product, and this is still part of the NWA National Wrestling Alliance, and has a set similar to not only the old NWA but the old ECW of the past. The other two promotions I just named have a set similar to the old NWA and the old early '90s and late 2000 to 2001's WCW, except smaller. Except smaller. Um, 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 that's what that's what this promotion is. Then of course you got in this promotion the wrestling style. Like I said, my favorite style, the wrestling style. Then of course you got then of course in Louisville, Kentucky, you got this promotion is also been around for 18 years, and that's Ohio Valley Wrestling, OVW, the promotion that gave you Randy Orton, John Cena, Batista, Brock Lesnar, Shelton Benjamin, John Morrison, Dolph Ziggler, and many more, and many more. They all came from this promotion right here. Um, this promotion, most of the wrestlers I like don't wrestle here anymore. The only one that still wrestles here occasionally is Elijah Burke, but this promotion still has a television product with a brand new roster full of good wrestlers. I don't know that many of the current professional wrestlers that wrestle there. I kind of stopped following Ohio Valley Wrestling when Jesse Goddard and Rockstar Spud left and began appearing on TNA, but again, for a while this was a developmental territory for TNA. Kind of happy that TNA kind of split with this developmental territory, because the guys coming out of this promotion were good enough to wrestle here, but in my opinion weren't good enough to wrestle in TNA. Most of the wrestlers. Um, um, yeah, that's Ohio Valley Wrestling. Then you got Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. Haven't been following this promotion since they introduced their PayPal, since they made their shows via PayPal, and of course since they left the NWA. And then of course one of their top stars and top heels, the Scrap Daddy Adam Pearce, is now a trainer for WWE. But other wrestlers like Colt Cabana, Scorpio Sky, the Mac, who also appears on Lucha Underground, Famous B, who also appears on Lucha Underground, and of course Joey Ryan, who also appears on Lucha Underground, wrestles in this promotion right here. There's also other wrestlers here named Chance Prophet, another one named Kevin Douglas, and another big guy with an afro named Eric Watts, who at first I thought was the original Eric Watts, but no, it's a brand new Eric Watts. Eric Watts. Yeah. So Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. And I like this promotion was always cool because this promotion has a Hollywood set similar to the 1993 WWE Raw set, WWE Raw set, WWE Raw set, and yeah, like I said, this was another awesome independent promotion, but I haven't been following it since they lost their name. But they're still here going strong. They're still here going strong. Then of course so that was this is the American okay. Then of course you got the top independent promotion here in America, and that is Ring of Honor. Not really that much of a fan of Ring of Honor, but I do enjoy their current product and their current lineup consisting of the Addiction, Christopher Daniels, Kazarian, the Young Bucks, ACH, sadly to say, just recently left, the Briscoe brothers, the Briscoe brothers, the Briscoe brothers, Caprice, Ice Coleman, and many more. A lot of these wrestlers have left either for TNA or WWE, but they still have an awesome product. Oh yes, Rhett Titus and Kenny King tag team and are top stars there now. And are top stars there now. Well, they were top stars before they left, but are have become like top baby faces for that company, company. And then of course right now they're doing a program with the Briscoe brothers and of course the Addiction, a dream tag team match right there. Yeah, so yeah, like I said, not the biggest Ring of Honor fan, but right now their current product is good. Then I love their partnership with New Japan, so you see a lot of the Ring of Honor wrestlers like the Briscoe brothers and Red Dragon and Young Bucks, in New Japan, in bigger arenas in New Japan. So yeah, Ring of Honor is good. Like I said, I would still like wrestling if all of this stuff right here was as popular as the WWE was as popular as the WWE was. It's sad that all these awesome wrestlers and all these awesome promotions will remain in obscurity, and the top dog will always be the the worst promotion of all time, WWE. Next is next is next is what's the next promotion? So yeah, that's it for oh yes, finally, last but not least, probably the biggest independent promotion, Lucha Underground. Impact Wrestling and Lucha Underground, in my opinion, are the two best wrestling products on television today. All these other promotions I'm talking about are available via internet. TNA and Lucha Underground are syndicated on television. So these are the best products on television. I stopped watching Lucha Underground months back because the wrestlers I wanted to see, one of the wrestlers I want to see, PJ Black, he wasn't really being used much other than a couple of tag team matches with with I keep forgetting the other guy, but Jack Evans and I think Azteca, something like that. I keep forgetting the third guy, but yeah, these three. But yeah, apart from tag team matches with these guys, trios tag team matches, he hasn't been appearing much. I wanted PJ Black to be a top star for Lucha Underground, but product has been phenomenal. They just recently had their most recent Aztec Warfare. I love the Aztec Warfare, the huge huge battle royal, and now I think they're slowly approaching their next Ultima Lucha, which is also awesome. The huge pay per view like finale. But yeah, Lucha Underground is real good. Like I said, I'm gonna review some of their episodes and talk about more about that in a shorter video in a individual video of its own. Then of course you got what's that promotion called? So yeah, that's all the promotion. That's all the top promotions. That's all the top indie promotions here in America that I'm talking about. There are various independent promotions here in America, but these are the top promotions I'm referring to. Next is Canadian wrestling. You have Crossfire Wrestling, and of course Victory Commonwealth Wrestling, which is now called Hogtown Pro Wrestling, something like that. Crossfire Wrestling. This is where um what's the guy's name? Braxton Stutter. Braxton Stutter. This is where he came from. This is where he came from, and I think Baron Dax and Barack Osea, they were initially on NXT, but I think before that they were in Crossfire Wrestling or Victory Commonwealth Wrestling. Victory Commonwealth Wrestling has a lot of awesome wrestlers. One of the coolest things about Victory Commonwealth Wrestling is that it's very old school, which means it's like a modernized promotion of the 1800s. All the wrestlers look how wrestlers used to look. Like you have one of the top stars, Jackson Jarvis, who's a bald guy with a funny looking mustache. It's in a small bar like carnival like setting, similar to the old days, the carny days of professional wrestling, the carny days of professional wrestling, and of course you have lots and lots of gimmicks and personalities, guys with beards and stuff. You would think this was the 1800s until you see how small some of these wrestlers are. So you see how small these wrestlers are. But right here, another awesome product that I've been meaning to talk about for a long time, but I haven't been really keeping up with most of their tapings because while their tapings have been good, just like with Lucha Underground, wrestlers I want to see are not featured on there. Next is so yeah, that's the Canadian independent circuit. There are other promotions like when I think it's called Cannon Arm Professional Wrestling. It's the promotion Scott Demore leads. TNA has cooperated with this promotion in the past, but I don't watch this. This is another one. Um, and of course, I think he now wrestles in Japan or the Lucha Libre promotions. I can't remember, but Alexander Kozlov, he was one of the coolest wrestlers to come out of Canada. So yeah. Next is British wrestling promotions. You have the largest one, NGW New Generation Wrestling, which features wrestlers like Zack Saber Jr., Brett Myers, Matt Myers, Danny Danny Hope, Liam Slater, El Ligero, a British Lucha Libre type wrestler, former TNA wrestler Douglas Williams, Mandrews, um, Mark Haskins from TNA Destination X 2011, Bubblegum, one of the top heels in that promotion now, and yeah, an exciting roster. Then you have Insane Championship Wrestling, which is where Drew Galloway, Anderson, and of course Grotto, this is where these guys wrestle when they're not wrestling for TNA. NGW and this promotion are the biggest promotions in Europe. Then you got one of the popular indie territories, Real Quality Wrestling, which has the same roster and some other guys. Then you have what's the next promotion? Oh yes, Revolution Pro, which has now become the biggest promotion in UK wrestling. Revolution Pro, which has a talent exchange with New Japan, so you see not only the wrestlers like Zack Sabre Jr., Mandrews, and many more, but you also see a lot of New Japan and you see a lot of super shows. They most recently had a super show, the RPW New Japan Global Wars. Then of course you have 1PW UK, one of the first promotions I first noticed in UK wrestling. However, it's a shell of what it once was, but they have awesome wrestlers like Will Ospreay, who also wrestles for that. Then, of course, you have What Culture professional wrestling, and I love the British style of wrestling. The British wrestlers, the Hispanic wrestlers, and the Canadian wrestlers are the technical wrestlers, best technical wrestlers of all time. In my opinion, the white and African American wrestlers here in America, the good ones, are the best overall professional wrestlers in terms of not only abilities in the ring, but marketing, mic skills, and everything. But those Canadians, those Hispanics, and those British wrestlers are like the best wrestlers of all time. I would love to see them in MMA and combat sports, man. MMA and combat sports. They're the best wrestlers of all time. Um, yeah, they're the best wrestlers of all time. So that's British wrestling. Then of course now for Mexico. Mexico. I love lucha libre professional wrestling. Well, I think it's not as good as it was in the past, in the 2000s and before 2000s and before. CMLL and the AAA promotions still put out awesome products and awesome pay-per-view events. I love the Lucha Libre wrestling. They combine fast-paced, exciting wrestling with larger than life characters, and I love the larger than life storylines combined with the matches, with the wrestlers and stuff putting their mask and their hair, putting their mask and hair on the line, putting their mask and here in the line, and they have more cool, badass, over the top costumes, even more over the top than the other countries, than the other countries promotions in other countries. And of course, they have a product vastly similar to boxing, MMA, and soccer. The CMLO promotion has rounds just like boxing. They have the wrestlers before the fight pose, 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 pose and hold the check just like a boxer does. And they have the the war scene from Rocky, the war theme from Rocky, and they have a yellow card system similar to soccer. European wrestling also had this in the past. So yeah, and yeah. If I had one criticism, I wish the CMLO, the tapings actually had more promos. Where see they have it like boxing. They have interviews and press conferences for promos and building for matches. Whereas the tapings has just all professional wrestling. Probably the only criticism I have towards modern day lucha libre professional wrestling, but awesome product full of awesome stars. Then you have the independent circuits like um international wrestling, um GW, something like that. I keep forgetting what it's called. Well, I can look it up. Oh yeah, International Revolution Group. So RWRG. Um, this is probably the best promotion in lucha. This promotion doesn't have the star power of CMLL and the AAA, but this is where they get a lot of their younger wrestlers from. This is where a lot of the younger wrestlers start, and it has a smaller bingo hall like setting. It has a smaller bingo hall like setting and better camera angles. You get to see the fight up close as if you were almost there, as if you were as if you were there. Whereas the major televised promotions, CMLL and AAA, have a third person camera like view, which is far away. You get better camera angles here, as if you were there, so you get to feel the stiffness and stuff. Then of course you have then of course you have Then another one called Ultimate Lucha. Ultimate Lucha, I think that's what it's called. Lucha Ultimate, something like that. Bobby Lashley and several TNA wrestlers appear on this one. He appeared on the most recent taping that was in November. That was in November. So this right here is another another independent Lucha Libre promotion. Lucha Libre promotion. So yeah, like I said, Mexico. Wow, Mexican wrestling is not as good as it once was. Yes, even Mexican wrestling, where wrestling is bigger there, they're not as popular as they used to be. You can see if you go to their larger tapings, you can see their attendance has dwindled since the 2000s. Since the 2000s, they still have a pretty awesome product. Pretty awesome product. Then you got Japanese wrestling. Of course, the Japanese wrestling is not as good as it was in the 2000s, but it's still pretty good. With of course the largest promotion being New Japan. Gonna start off with New Japan. You got New Japan. Ever since Prince Devitt came up with that Bullet Club act, that has been the best thing in New Japan. You've seen the rise of wrestlers like Hiroshi Tanahashi as not only as a top star, as a major player, but a top star for New Japan wrestling. Then you've seen Okada go from the Kaido gimmick from in TNA to being a major player and top wrestler from New Japan. Then of course you have other wrestlers like Tomoshiro Ishii. Tomoshiro Ishii, the stiffest and toughest, probably toughest wrestler in New Japan. You have old wrestlers like Hiroyoshi Tenzin, Yuji Nagata, Jushin Liger. Then of course you got Tomaki Homa, who I often confuse with Okada because he looks just like him. He looks just like him, who uses the flying headbutt. Seiya Sanada wrestles here. Then of course you got the Ring of Honor people, Austin Jenkins, Kenny Omega. I love what they've done with Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega. Then of course Ricochet. You got Ricochet. Then of course you have Will Ospreay, the Young Bucks, and Chase Owens, who I mentioned, wrestles in Tennessee. Cole Shooter, who is in a tag team with Alex Shelley as the Time Splitters, and Alex Shelley. Love Alex Shelley's work. This is his New Japan stuff has been the best work I've seen from Alex Shelley, man. Has been the best work I've seen from Alex Shelley. Then of course Jay Lethal wrestles here. So does the Briscoe brothers. Big Harry Smith. He's currently wrestling for Noah. Then of course you also have Cody Hall, and of course and of course Bad Luck, and then of course the Bullet Club members, which has been the best thing in wrestling. This is like a combination of DX and the NWO, a more athletic version of DX and the NWO. The Bullet Club. You have the Bullet Club members. You have the Bullet Club, like I said, which has been the best thing in New Japan. I mentioned Bad Luck Fail. You got you got Toma Tonga, Tama Tonga and Tonga Tonga, who are now the tag team champions. And like I said, New Japan. And I may also mention you have Cody Hall, Scott Hall's son, who's also made several appearances for the Anarchy Wrestling promotion I was talking about. But he's a member of the Bullet Club here in New Japan. New Japan. Only thing I don't like about New Japan, and also before I continue with New Japan, the only thing I like about New Japan is their television deals. Is their television product. It is terrible. It is just a bunch of tape matches from different shows put together from one show instead of taping several matches and segments from a live show and airing it on TV and airing it on TV. Airing on TV. I want New Japan, like Hiroshi Tanahashi and Okada and Kenny Omega said. They always wanted to wrestle for New Japan. They wanted to make New Japan the biggest in the world. I wanted New Japan to be the biggest in the world. They're actually the second biggest promotion in the world, but they're not anything here in the United States. They're the top promotion everywhere else, but are not anything here in the United States, man. In here in the United States. Same with my Lucha Libre promotions in Mexico. Big in Mexico and everywhere else. Big in Mexico and everywhere else. CMLL and New Japan have a partnership, and several of the Japanese wrestlers representing New Japan and Noah wrestled for in 01 wrestled in the Lucha Cup this year, which is one of the things I love about Lucha Libre wrestling. It was the pay per view events, and one of their biggest events was of course the Lucha Cup, which was phenomenal this year. I gotta watch and review that sometime. I gotta finish watching and review that sometime. Then of course you have New Japan. It's their pay per views. You had the most recent one, which was a crossover event with co-promotion with the RPW promotion in Europe, Revolution Pro Wrestling promotion in Europe, the Global Wars promotion, where the New Japan wrestlers went against the RPW wrestlers. This right here was a phenomenal show. Then you had the most recent show, Power Struggle. Then before that, King of Pro Wrestling with Okada and Marufuji. Marufuji tearing it up. Fuji tearing it up. You have the popular Wrestle Kingdom shows, and I love the New Japan wrestling shows. Their posters look like movie Godzilla kaiju movie posters, man. They do pay per view awesome. One of the other cool things I love about Lucha Libre, New Japan, and TNA, the entrance music and the entrances. The entrances make most of the matches, man. The entrances be the most epic thing you see. They be more epic than the matches sometimes. Then of course you got so yeah, that's New Japan, the large promotions. Then you still have All Japan Pro Wrestling, which is still around. However, according to the website according to the website in attendance, this promotion is a shell of what it once was. Nowhere near being the powerhouse it used to be. And recent as a crippled promotion, John Ayama, something like that. He's recently joined the promotion. He's recently joined the promotion. The promotion has a reconstructed roster which consists of mostly new guys. Then of course you got Pro Wrestling Noah, which has not been that good since Toshiaki Kawada, Jumbo Serrano, who passed away years ago, Misuawa, who also died, and of course Kenta left. This promotion's been a shell of what it once was, but they have Chris Hero and Marufuji on their roster, and Harry Smith and Lance Hoyt wrestle on this roster now. 01 has never been that good, but I've always loved the venue. They haven't been good since Japanese wrestler Shinya Hashimoto wrestled here. Joe and foreign wrestler Tom Howard wrestled here. This is the promotion. Funaki wrestles here. Shinjiro Otani and Masato Tanaka wrestle here. Masato Tanaka from my opinion, the best promotion in Japanese wrestling, FMW, which has also recently come back with a newly reconstructed, with some familiar faces and reconstructed roster. FMW fell in the late 90s when their top star, Hayabusa, got injured. Who I think died earlier this year. Yeah, he did die early this year. So, yeah, the hardcore wrestling, the deathmatch promotion at Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling, FMW. So, like I said, of course you got Wrestle One, which has been, this is the new promotion that was formed when I forgot when one of the top wrestlers left New Japan. I think it was Great Muta Kaiji Muto. When he left All Japan, he formed this promotion, Wrestle One, which has a lot of familiar wrestlers like Kaz Hayashi, Shuji Kongo, another favorite Japanese wrestler of mine who looks like Tatanka, who looks like the Indian wrestler Tatanka. Kazuhiko Nakajima, another popular veteran of All Japan wrestling, I think wrestles here. So yeah, yeah, this is the promotion that they this is the promotion that they went. This is the promotion that was formed when I think Great Muta split from All Japan Pro Wrestling, but yeah. So like I said, so much awesome wrestling outside of WWE, and like I said, if all these promotions combine great wrestling with great characters, and also before I forget, you also have the Evolve promotion, this is the promotion Goblaski, I keep forgetting his last name, but when he left Ring of Honor, he formed this promotion, This is the promotion that Chris Hero wrestles for. So it's good to see, good that I get to watch Chris Hero again, and several of the WWE wrestlers like Perkins, Drew Gatlin. This promotion has a partnership with WWE, so several of the wrestlers seen in the Cruiserweight Series and NXT wrestle here, and wrestlers like Zack Sabre wrestle here too. So like I said, so much awesome wrestling outside of WWE. But like I said, I wish it was as popular, more popular than WWE. And if it was, I would still like professional wrestling. See, I hate that you have so much awesome wrestling out there, but when people talk about wrestling, it always goes to that garbage WWE crap. That's the one thing as a teenager and as an adult I've always had with modern day professional wrestling. When it comes to modern day professional wrestling, people immediately point to the garbage WWE garbage, man, and I hate that. Well, this was my salute of indie wrestling in 2016. Gonna be talking about each of these promotions individually. All right, I'm done.